Hey everyone, and welcome. So today we're jumping into a topic that honestly might surprise you. We're talking about cats, but not just any cats. We are on the hunt for the solid brown cat. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Brown is everywhere in the animal kingdom, right? But for cats, it's a true rarity. So let's get into it and uncover the genetic secret behind this whole thing. Which brings us right to the big question. Why? How can a color as, basic as brown be so hard to find in cats? It just doesn't seem to add up. But the answer, as we're about to see, is literally locked away inside their DNA. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Spotting an entirely brown cat is like finding a hidden gem. It's not just another cat you see on the street. Finding one is a really special moment. It says a lot about how unique these animals really are. Okay, so to crack this mystery, we gotta follow the clues. And the first, biggest clue, it's all in the genes. This has nothing to do with what they eat or where they live. It's all about a very specific quirk happening at the molecular level. Now, the key that unlocks this whole thing is something called a genetic mutation. That sounds super scientific, but really it's just a small change in the DNA sequence. In the case of our brown cats, it's a mutation that specifically targets the gene that would normally make a cat's fur solid black. So how does this actually play out? Let's break it down. You start with a cat that has the gene for black fur. Then this super rare mutation happens. Now this change doesn't get rid of the black pigment entirely. It just waters it down. It dilutes it. And what you get is this incredible, rich, chocolatey brown coat. And this is the most important part. Brown isn't a default color for cats. It's actually a modified version of black. All right, so now we get the how. We understand the science behind it, so it's time to meet the who. Let's head over to our gallery and take a look at the specific breeds where this amazing genetic quirk isn't just an accident. It's been celebrated and perfected by breeders. And here is our all-star lineup. These are the main breeds where you're going to find that gorgeous, solid brown color. We're talking about the Havana Brown, the Oriental Shorthair, the York Chocolate, and even the famous Persian. Each one has its own unique backstory, but they all share that one rare gene that breeders fell in love with. First up, the Havana Brown. Its nickname is the Chocolate Delight, and I mean, come on, you can see why. That deep, warm brown fur paired with those bright green eyes, it's just stunning. But they're not just a pretty face. These cats are super smart and incredibly social too. Okay, next we've got the Oriental Shorthair. And this breed is basically the artist's palette of the entire cat world. They're famous for an unbelievable amount of variety. I mean, get this, there are over 600 different color and pattern combos for this breed. 600, which is exactly what makes the solid brown version so special. Out of all those hundreds of possibilities, that rich chocolate coat is a real sought-after treasure. So let's do a quick little side-by-side. We've met the Havana Brown, our chocolate delight. But then you have the York Chocolate, which is a truly American breed. It got its start right in New York State. It's a bit of a newer breed on the scene, but it's now officially recognized by all the major cat associations. Moving on, let's talk about the Burmese cat. Now, this breed has a really interesting history. The original was brought over to the US back in the 1930s, and to get that unique, solid brown color just right, it was actually crossbred with Siamese cats. And that very specific shade of brown, it even has its own special name, sable. So next time you hear cat enthusiasts talking about a sable coat, you'll know they're talking about that deep, rich brown that was perfected in the Burmese breed. It's a pretty important term in the brown cat world. And here's where we get a really cool genetic partnership. The British Shorthair can have that beautiful chocolate coat, but there's a catch. They can only get it through crossbreeding with a Persian. The genes from a chocolate Persian are absolutely essential to make a brown British Shorthair. They're a team. Speaking of Persians, they're hiding a little secret. Genetically speaking, all solid-colored Persians are actually tabbies in disguise. Yeah, for real. When they're kittens, you can often see faint little stripes, but as they grow up, those markings just fade away, leaving that beautiful solid color behind. So while those are definitely the main players on the brown cat stage, they're not the only ones. That special gene does pop up in a few other places, so let's take a quick look beyond our main gallery. Yep, you can also find this brown coloring in breeds like the Scottish Fold, the Swiss Mountain Cat, and the Devon Rex. The big difference here is that while these guys can be solid brown, you'll often see the color mixed in with other patterns. It's not quite the same as our main gallery breeds, which are really celebrated for being purely solid. So after that whole journey, through genetics, through the different breeds, all of it, what's the big takeaway here? We started with a simple question, and it turned into this really amazing story. When you boil it all down, these beautiful brown cats exist because of a perfect storm. It's a mix of a rare, natural genetic accident and the passion of dedicated breeders who saw how beautiful it was and decided to preserve it. It's like nature's little quirk curated by people who loved it. And that leaves us with one last question to chew on. If a color as simple as brown can hold such a cool genetic secret in cats, it really makes you wonder, right? What other hidden gems are just waiting to be discovered in the huge, complex genetic code of the animal kingdom? Thanks for digging into this with me.